Hey everyone, welcome back to Collecting Nolan. This is Russ, and it's that time of the week where we look at the top selling Nolan Ryan cards on eBay. But before we get started, just a reminder that you guys can tell me what you're picking up on eBay or elsewhere. If you would like, you can just send me a picture of the card and a little story or a snippet of information about it. And, if I get enough of them together, I'll put together a show just to summarize everything. But I'm just going to extend it indefinitely. So I'll put my email up here. That way you can email me your pictures and whatever. And again, if you don't want me to use your name, I won't. And I just want to see what you guys are picking up. I think it'll be fun. I'm just going to extend it indefinitely, and we'll go from there. So let's go ahead and get started with this week's show of eBay cards. Honorable mentions. This week's honorable mention is the 1977 Topps Vault Key Proof that sold for $600. I don't know too much about this card. Based off of what I could find, I guess Topps Vault auctions off items every so often, and this is one of those auctions. I'm showing the back of the card, or I guess the CO, not the back, I think the back is plain, but there's a COA that came with it, so I'm including that in the picture here. I just find this to be a pretty cool card because it is the proof of my favorite card from the 70s, the 1977 O-Pee-Chee. So just a cool card that I thought I would share. Number 10 is the 2021 Topps Transcendent Randy Johnson and Nolan Ryan Hitters Beware 1/1 card, and a PSA 8 for the card and 10 for the auto that sold for $1,475. This Randy Johnson and Nolan Ryan autographed 1/1 is from the 2021 Topps Transcendent Hall of Fame set, which had only 50 boxes produced. Nolan Ryan had 73 cards in this set, including a Topps Through the Years run, which had Nolan and his autograph on previously released Topps cards starting from 1952 to 2021 designs. Number 9 is the 2005 Upper Deck 4000K Club, signed by Roger Clemens, Nolan Ryan, Steve Carlton, and Randy Johnson, in a PSA Authentic that sold for $1,750. This card does not come signed out of the pack. Each autograph is obtained separately, so I give credit to those who are brave enough to send this card through the mail and have these guys sign it. It is definitely a cool card to have. This card has been on the show a number of times, including the first episode where a PSA 8 copy sold for $1,195 back in December of 2024. Number 8 is the 1999 Topps Certified Autograph of the 1994 Topps Reprint card and a PSA 10 that sold for $1,850. We're going to be having a number of these this week, so I'll be talking about them a little later on. There are only 2 PSA 10 copies of this card out there, and only 6 grade copies of this card in general. I couldn't find any other sales recently of this card. Number 7 is the 1999 Topps Reprint Certified Autograph of the 1974 Topps Nolan Ryan and a PSA 10 that sold for $2,000. There are only 2 known PSA 10 copies of this card out there, and only 5 grade copies of this card in general. Again, I'll talk about more of these very soon. Number 6 is the 1969 Topps number 533 and a PSA 8 with an off-center qualifier that reportedly sold for $2,025 after 41 bids on Greg Moore's cards. I could not verify this sale on 130 point. There are 130 PSA 9 copies of this card in the PSA database and only 3 PSA 10s. No recent sales of a PSA 9 OC could be found for comparison. The latest sale occurred on Fanatics Collect in July of 2022 for $552. A PSA 9 with no qualifiers recently sold on eBay for $11,211.11. However, a rule of thumb in the hobby is that a qualifier usually drops the card by 2 numbers. So this PSA 9 OC would be equivalent to a PSA 7. Recent PSA 7 copies have sold for between $881 and $1,200. Number 5 is a 3-way tie between 3 cards that are all very similar. The certified autos of the 1999 Topps 1977, 1985, and 1987 reprints sold for $2,500 a piece and all by the same seller. There are 5 PSA 10s for the 77, 6 PSA 10s for the 1985, and 7 PSA 10s for the 1987. In 1999, Topps reprinted all of Nolan's 27 Topps cards. The 14 odd number cards were inserted into Series 1, and the 13 even number cards were distributed in Series 2. Pack inserted autographs of each of his 27 reprints will have the certified autograph stamp on it. There was a 1 in 4,250 odds for the hobby packs, and a 1 in 1,176 odds for the jumbo packs for the autographs. No recent sales of this card could be found for comparison. Or I should say, of these cards for comparison. Number 4 is the 1971 Topps number 513 and a PSA 8 that sold for $3,000. One of my favorite Nolans from the 70s. The 1971 is a tough card to acquire in a high grade. The black borders are often chipped, and the card is hard to get centered. This card appears to have no significant chipping and is only slightly off-centered from left to right. There are 597 PSA 8 copies of this card out there, and only 71 cards grade higher. There are no PSA 10s. Previous sales of a PSA 8 have ranged between $1,931 to $2,100, making this sale the highest by quite a margin. Number 3 is the 1968 Topps number 177 Jerry Koosman and Nolan Ryan rookie card, ungraded, that sold for $3,250. This card was sold by Greg Morris Cards after 70 bids. In the description, they mention it as an EX to EX mint. There's definitely some surface wear on this card, especially in the Mets circle. However, the colors are great and the centering is pretty spot on. PSA 6 or EX mint copies of this card have sold between $1,710 and $2,545 for great centering versions. What do you guys think? Would you spend this kind of money on a non-graded card? Can the argument be made that maybe not all cards should be graded? Could a seller with lesser clout than Greg Morris expect this kind of profit if they were to put EX to EX mint in their description? Just some things to think about. Number 2 is the 1991 Topps Desert Shield Nolan Ryan in a PSA 10 that sold for $4,399.99. The Desert Shield cards are highly sought after because they were distributed to our troops overseas during the Persian Gulf conflict in 1991. Due to their rarity, some of the more prominent player cards can fetch quite a bit of money. For this reason, there are a ton of fakes out there. Even the grading companies were grading some of the fakes because some of them are so very good. I did a video about getting scammed on this card, and I'll put a link up top in case you guys want to check it out. There are 60 PSA 10 copies of this card out there, and only 683 copies of this card graded in general. An unconfirmed sale of a PSA 10 occurred on eBay last month for $3,645. The most recent confirmed sale that I could find occurred in February of 2024 that sold for $2,250 on Fanatics Collect. And finally, number 1 is the 2022 Topps Definitive Trios autograph, number DTA RTO, the purple parallel numbered 3 out of a possible 5, with Nolan Ryan, Mike Trout, and Shohei Ohtani in a PSA 8 for the card and 9 for the auto that sold for $4,945. There are 3 copies of this card in the PSA database, with 2 cards graded higher. 2022 Topps Definitive Collection was distributed in 8 card boxes, and each box had 6 on-card autographs and 2 relics. Nolan had 6 solo cards in the set and this triple signature card. This card came in 3 different parallels: a green out of 10, a purple out of 5, and a red 1 of 1. No previous sales can be found for comparison. And guys, that wraps it up for this week. I hope everyone enjoyed the show. Please let me know what you thought of the cards and of the sales, and if you want to chime in on some of my questions to you, that would be great. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you at the next one. Thanks. Bye.